Well, good morning. Let's estimate some trees again. Oh man, I'm a glutton for punishment. Look at this nasty situation right here. Now this fir tree is at least 120 feet tall. That's a big tree, and it's in a pretty tight space. Let's take a look. So when I roll up, I'm looking for all this stuff, but look, plenty of places to park. We got probably the whole street if I need it. This house, is practically ready for demo. It's just falling apart, but there's lots of room. This is a perfectly huge drop zone. I'll have to rig up some of the branches over the roof, but not too bad. Looks like it's got about a 50-inch diameter at the base, and it is huge, but it doesn't have a split top, which I like because I much prefer to work in them when they don't have split tops. But this is just one of the 4 trees that I'm going to be looking at. Here's another one. Look at this one. That one's, oh man, I bet you that's over 50. That's probably getting close to 60 inches across at the very base. Probably 40 some odd inches up in here. But another big tree. They're all really the same height, just about. This one's got some more girth to it. This one's pretty good size right here. Just another monster going way up there. So this third one, the one marked 3, looks like it lost its top, and that might be why they're looking to get rid of it. But you're not gonna be able to park anything here or build any new structures with these guys in the way. That's probably part of it. Somebody just purchased this house, and they want to get all this stuff out of here probably as soon as possible. I'm going to bid high and watch them buy. So we'll see. The last bigger fir that I did bid it a little bit higher, and I didn't hear back from them yet, but we'll see. They actually kind of sounded like they weren't sure. They just wanted to feel the temperature and see what the prices are going to be like. But yeah, so these trees are nasty. Because there's 4 of them, I would probably put $3,500 on each one. And then they're going to ask me, well, are the stumps included? No, they're not. So I don't include stumps. So what I tell them is, I'm going to come in, I'm going to remove the trees and get rid of all the wood, and everything's going to be down to the stump. Stump grinding is separate, and we need to be able to measure. Plus, we have to do locations. So I'm not going to go ahead and do locations and wait 48 hours before I come back and check and see if their gas line runs right through the middle of the tree's root system. I'll tell them, I'll give you an estimate to remove the trees. Stump grinding is secondary. We can do that too, but I'm not including it in my estimate. So that's how I do it. You could put a little caveat in there, say, hey, if we run into any wires or anything weird, if there's anything running through the tree's root system, it's going to cost more. But I prefer to just, hey, let's get the trees out of there. We can come back and do the stump grinding, no problem. And I can give you a price for that. Once we get the trees in the ground, it makes it a lot easier to measure across the stump. And that's just an easy way to do it. And it actually does make it easier for me. And I have a tendency to bid the stumps more appropriately once everything's gone. And that's probably something we're going to talk about. So $3,500 on each tree. What's that? So we got 14,000. Ooh, they're probably not going to go for that. Maybe I'll give them a little bit of a discount. Let's say 10%. We'll say 10%. So that'll be fair. I feel fine with that. I don't care. Like, we're so busy, doesn't really matter. And the next guy will get a really good deal, I'm sure. So, but since we're standing here, I'm going to talk about this. When I'm looking at this tree, stump grinding is going to be easy access. on all the trees here. This one might be a little weird. You can see there's a water pipe right here, and it's pretty close to foundation. I can even see some cables going through here, but it's like, it is literally, that distance right there is probably 18 inches. So it's very close. I mean, look, it's very close. And we had the line. So, ooh, that's something I didn't see and point out. The house drop travels right underneath this tree. So that'll make rigging out some of these branches a little bit more difficult, but they're definitely gonna change how this all goes together. It doesn't even have a snorkel, so there's no way to extend it up over the roof line, and that's too low right here. That's not even 10 feet off the ground. So they're gonna have to raise that anyway. So if I knock this house drop off, I don't wanna do that, but if it happens, it's not gonna be that big a deal because they're gonna have to replace all that anyway. I can tell just by looking at it, it's not gonna be an issue. But let's talk more about stump grinding. So on a stump this size, so like I said, it's 60 inches at least, flare to flare. If I'm looking at this guy, I'm going to say probably around $600 on a stump this size. That one I probably do for around $7. That one's beefier. That one's, I bet you that is all of 6 feet across. I feel like I could lay down right there, and it's, you know, maybe a little taller than me. This one's pretty meaty too, about as meaty as the last one we looked at. I probably do $600 to $700 per stump on all of these. And what's so cool, and I really say you gotta find somebody with one of those toe behind stump grinders. Those things are monsters. They're older, you don't see them as often. They're like used in forestry, and you don't see them in the inner city so much. But man, if you get a hold of one of those, it'll blow this thing out of here in like less than an hour. Like easily, even getting here, 30 minutes on one stump. Boom, boom, boom. It just blows through them. And you do also have to tell your customer, hey, it's only gonna go down, you know, average for stump grinders is about 18 inches. You can't get really much more than 18 inches to 2 feet. And it makes it difficult when you're stump grinding because you're gonna have to like remove all the debris so you can get the wheel to come down further, because you gotta be at it can only go 18 inches under the level that you're parked at. So that, something to tell your customers is, what's with the expectation that the stump is going to be removed clear to China or something? It just doesn't work that way. So you got to let them know. And I like to spell everything out. Like, okay, we're going to grind your stump. Stump grinders only go down about 18 inches. You know, 16 to 18 is average. And you'll be able to fill that back in with dirt after you remove the wood chips and put anything you want. And then they're like, okay. And then they'll ask you, well, why do we have to remove the wood chips? Because if you pay an arborist to remove the wood chips, that's more expensive. But if you're a landscaper, which you're going to have somebody landscaping this place, comes in, they're going to remove the wood chips for far less expensive. So they're going to, you know, dig that up and throw it away for, you know, probably max $20 an hour. Whereas if I do it, I charge a minimum of $150 an hour. So do you want me to do it, or do you want your landscaper to do it? And they almost always say, you know, we'll just have our landscapers do it. I just leave a nice, neat, big pile of wood chips when I'm done. I cut it down, each tree down to probably leave, I don't like to leave more than a foot, but it really depends on how big it is at the base. Some of these are pretty good size, but I will definitely leave, you know, the width of the power head on the saw, that width, that's usually pretty much what I leave every time, unless it's really wide. I might leave it a little bit taller, but that just facilitates, you know, if I didn't have a big enough saw or something like that. So